Hi, Councillor Keenan. It's Tam.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to begin the meeting with the roll call. Deputy Mayor Singh.
Present.
Councillor Santos.
Present.
Councillor Vincente.
Present.
Councillor Brar.
Present.
Councillor Keenan.
Present.
Councillor Medeiros.
Present.
Councillor Fortini. Councillor Tour. Councillor Power. And Mayor Brown, if you are present. Seeing none. As we begin today's meeting, we'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the treaty territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and before them the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron, and Wendat. We also acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and other global Indigenous people that now call Brampton their home. We are honored to live, work, and enjoy this land. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Brampton's Planning and Development Committee meeting. We have approval of the agenda. There were some added items, I think, that have been added to the revised agenda, but as far as there were some delegations or some people that wanted to add correspondence today, mainly developers that were not looking to add them today. We're currently reviewing that, so I just wanted to bring council or committee aware of that. So are there any, based on the revised agendas, do we have to announce any?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no. I do see Councillor Medeiros on the board to speak, though.
Councillor Medeiros.
Yeah, sorry, Chair Palashi. Solmar had made the request that they wanted to delegate regarding application fees, and they understand that as part of our practice that we refer it to staff. I'm just wondering, because we would need 2/3 to do that, so at the committee's indulgence, would that be possible to see if we have 2/3?
Councilor Medeiros, based off of some of the comments that I had heard from committee and the text message that I sent you, we felt that Wednesday would be the best opportunity for them to.
Oh, okay, my apologies. Yep, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. We'll move that
Thank
to
you.
Wednesday. Councilor Vicente, you move approval of the agenda? You have something to add? Councilor Vicente.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Would it be possible at this point in the meeting for us to request deferral of 7.2 to the next planning meeting?
7.2 to the next planning meeting?
Yes, both myself and Councillor Santos wish to have some additional discussion. with
MTSA.
staff. Correct.
To next planning, which is that a day meeting or a night meeting?
It's 7 o'clock.
Okay, so it would be the next evening.
Correct.
Okay. And then I think staff, Mr. Ganesh, you wanted to, based off of one of the items, you wanted to refer to council?
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, item 7.7, the city-initiated official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment in relation to additional residential units, just for the benefit of the chair and members of council. At the time of drafting the report, it was not clear to staff of the amount of parking that we could ask for the additional residential units. And I know parking was something that was mentioned by council when the public meeting report came forward. Since authoring the report, the province has introduced Bill 97 a few weeks ago, which allows for each additional residential unit that can have one parking on the subject land. So staff would ask that this matter be referred to the next council meeting, allowing staff a bit of time to review that. And
So
make any
just to
necessary
summarize, we were
adjustments.
doing a lot of work on this. The province changed some of the rules, so now we have to walk back the work that we did to conform with what the province is doing. Thanks, province. Thanks, Steve.
Through the chair, a great summary.
So 7.2 and 7.7 will be referred, 7.2 to next planning, 7.7 to next council, just to get the wording right. Anybody opposed to that? Moved by Councilor Vicente. All in favor? That carries. Declarations of conflict of interest. Are there any members that would like to declare a conflict? Seeing none. Our consent agenda. Moving right to 7.2 that's been referred. 7.4. Any members like to hold item 7.4, which is the application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw, Church Brampton Ventures, WE Outridge and Associates, 55, 59, 61 Beach Street, 136, 140, 142 Church Street, Ward 1. Seeing none, that's in consent. Staff, the next item, 7.5, staff report, application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw, Blackthorn Development Corp., 2794465 Ontario Inc., 11556 Bramley Road, Ward 9. Seeing none. Item 7.6, application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw, J.L. Richards and Associates, 2849150 Ontario Inc., 151st Gulf Boulevard, Ward 3. Seeing none. Item 8.1, minutes, Brampton Heritage Board. Seeing none. Any of the related correspondence to the items that have been referred will go with those referrals as well. Councillor Power, you'll move the consent agenda. All in favor? That carries. Item 5.1 is a staff presentation, application to amend the zoning bylaw and plan of subdivision, Sheridan Capital Management, Matthews Planning and Management, 0 Gore Road, 10635 the Gore Road, and 10647 the Gore Road, Ward 10. We have no registered delegations. Are there anybody here that would like to hear a presentation on that item? Seeing none, that item is adjourned. Item 5.2, staff presentation, application for a draft plan of subdivision and amend the zoning bylaw, Sheridan Capital Management, Matthews Planning and Management Limited, 10797 the Gore Road, Ward 10. Is there anybody that would like to hear a presentation on that item? Seeing none, that item is adjourned. Item 5.3, staff presentation, application to amend the zoning bylaw and official plan, First Gulf Business Park, Glenn Schnarr and Associates, 535 Steeles Avenue East, Ward 3. Is there anybody here that would like to see a presentation on that item? Seeing none, that item is adjourned. Our next item is staff presentation, application to amend the zoning bylaw and official plan, Ann Claire Holdings, Humphreys Planning Group, Inc., 700 Balmoral Drive, Ward 7. We have Francois Hemon Monroe, our planner, Development Services, to provide the presentation. Francois. Please go ahead.
Good to go. Good evening, members of the committee, members of the public, and city staff. My name is Francois Aymon Morneau, and I am the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Humphreys Planning Group on behalf of Ann Claire Holdings. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 7 and is municipally known as 700 Balmoral Drive. The property is located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Balmoral Drive and Eastbourne Drive. Next slide, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just bear with us. We'll bring up, this is 5.4, and it's 700 Balmoral. Yep, this one? Okay.
Thank you. So the following slide shows an overview of the subject site and the surrounding context. The surrounding land uses are described as the following. To the north, institutional uses being Earnscliffe Recreation Center and commercial uses being a car wash. To the south, low-density residential uses across Balmoral Drive. To the east, high-density residential uses, institutional uses being an elementary school, and beyond is open space. To the west, institutional uses being an elementary school, and beyond are low-density residential uses. The site currently consists of a single-story retail commercial plaza. The site has one access off of Balmoral Drive and two accesses from Eastbourne Drive. Next slide, please. The proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment application is to facilitate the redevelopment of the site into a mixed-use development consisting of two podium buildings with tower heights of 10, 12, 18, and 20 stories, with a total of over 980 units and an additional 4,613 square meters of retail space, 1,365 parking spaces, and a total combined indoor and outdoor amenity area of 2,586 square meters. The development is proposed to have a floor space index of 4.1, which is the ratio of the building to the site, to the area of the site. Now, one key aspect of this proposal to consider is that the development for the site would occur in two separate phases. Phase 1 being for the southern half of the site, while phase 2 would be for the northern half. A rendering of phase 1 is currently shown on screen. It is the city's understanding that the No Frills grocery store located on the northern portion of the site will remain open with along with other tenants in the plaza. The No Frills grocery store would then be relocated within the ground floor of the proposed retail space of phase 1. Then phase 2 would be developed. Next slide, please. The subject land is designated residential in the City of Brampton official plan, which permits a range of residential uses as well as retail and commercial opportunities. It also permits institutional uses such as a school and recreational centers. The land is also designated neighborhood retail on Schedule A2 retail structure of the official plan. This designation is used to indicate the location of land uses that primarily involve retail trade and that offer goods and services to residents and businesses. The development proposal intends to accommodate a combination of high density and residential and retail uses. Therefore, an amendment to the official plan is required to delete the neighborhood retail designation to facilitate the introduction of residential uses on site. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located within the Bramalea Secondary Plan, Area 3, and designated neighborhood retail. The neighborhood retail designation permits a wide range of retail uses, and since the proposal includes high-density residential uses, this will require an amendment to the secondary plan to adequately reflect the proposed uses. Next slide, please. The subject property is currently zoned Commercial 2, Special Section 1132, as per zoning bylaw 270/2004. The parent Commercial 2 zone permits a range of retail uses, including but not limited to a supermarket, bank, office, restaurants, commercial school, community club, service station, or gas bar, and personal service shop. The special section also permits a movie theater. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is required in order to facilitate the redevelopment of the site for residential and retail commercial uses. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing to amend the zoning bylaw from the current commercial zone to a site-specific residential apartment A zone, which reflects the details of the proposed development. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment will permit the rezoning of the site from Commercial 2, C2 Special Section 1132, to residential apartment A, R4A Special Section to be determined on Schedule A, permitting, for example, an apartment building, a range of commercial uses, including but not limited to an office, bank, convenience store, supermarket, restaurant, medical clinic, and day nursery. The zoning bylaw will also regulate tower height, density, parking, setbacks, tower separation, commercial space, among other zoning performance standards. Next slide, please. So prior to finalizing recommendations to council, this application will be further evaluated for consistency with the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, conformity with the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the Region of Peel official plan, and City of Brampton official plan, as well as the Bramalea secondary plan. Next slide, please. At this time, preliminary issues that will need to be addressed include: first, the integration of the proposed development and its compatibility with existing neighborhood, minimizing impacts to the adjacent school to the west, adequately transitioning from high density to the surrounding land uses, vehicular access points to be in alignment with existing access points, ensuring that the internal pedestrian movement are safe for residents and grocery retail customers. It also includes preserving retail uses on site, ensuring availability of adequate infrastructure, including sewers, water, roads, as well as schools. And lastly, one point to add is that the construction, we would be looking to request a construction management plan and phasing plan that addresses impacts to residents and businesses during construction and timelines associated with the development. Next, we have some opportunities of this development, which include providing a mix of residential and retail uses to meet long-term needs while forming resilient and livable communities. And lastly, the phased approach would ensure that the supermarket and retail opportunities are partially maintained during the construction of this phased development. These issues and others that are raised will be addressed in a future recommendation report. Next slide, please. The next steps in the application are, first, this application was deemed complete on January 23rd, 2023. Staff will continue to review the application, including reviewing comments from the public, and technical comments from city departments and agencies. Issues raised will be addressed in a future recommendation report, and staff will advance a final recommendation report to council for a decision on this item. Staff will contact and follow up with those residents who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. This development application can be accessed by the public through Brand Plan Online. Through Brand Plan Online, members of the public can click the search for an application link, then type the file number of the application in the required field, which in this case is OZS 2022-0040. This brings up the file page, where clicking the File Info tab will allow all drawings and documents associated with the development application to be viewed. Next slide, please. The report associated with tonight's meeting is available online. This presentation will also be available online shortly. Once again, my name is Francois Aymon-Morneau, and my contact information is posted on screen right now, along with the contact information of the applicant, which is Jonathan Sasso from Humphreys Planning Group, who's representing the landowner Enclair Holdings. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself, my manager, or the applicant. This concludes my presentation. Thank you kindly, and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Francois. We do have Councillor Fortini on the board. Councillor Fortini?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I know I myself and Rod Power here, Councillor Power, received a lot of emails and calls on this, and of the no frills and the height and you know, the banks over there. And I know it's an area that the residents really want to try to keep. So maybe if we could maybe defer this and maybe have a town hall with the residents and the developer, see how we could come to a conclusion. Because I know this is only a public meeting, we're in the first stage, but before it comes back, maybe see how we can work with the residents and the developer.
So, Councillor Fortini, we can't defer the public meeting.
No.
What we could do essentially, and Councillor Fortini knows this, to the public, we often do this when there's a lot of people interested on a type of application. We'll allow the public meeting to go ahead, but then what you're hearing tonight is your area councillors are going to direct staff and the developer to hold a town hall. So at this function, at this setting, you're allowed 5 minutes each. We currently have 11 delegations tonight. But what Councillor Fortini and what Councillor Power are saying is they're going to grab probably close to Earnscliffe, I would think, a room at Earnscliffe to invite all of the residents to come, and they'll post it through social media, and we'll actually, everybody here that has registered tonight, and if you want to register or reach out to your councillor, staff will actually contact you as well to invite you to the town hall. Then you tell all your neighbors and you get a big function, and you might be able to talk your area councillors to bring in coffee, something to that effect. But then that way you can really have a discussion about an application. So that's what your area councillors are saying. So after this, they'll move a motion to request that staff, the developer, hold a town hall at Earnscliffe and give the residents full notice that they'll be doing that. So thank you, Councillor Fortini.
Yeah, and thank you. And just one more thing to the commission. Do we have everyone's contacts, Alan? All the residents that roll in, so we could, if we do this town hall.
So we'll have all of the contacts that everybody that sent correspondence and delegations. But if you haven't, then we don't have your contact, you can send those contacts to your area councillors, and they'll make sure that you get contacted.
Good. I think that would work out good.
Okay. So that's just I think we have 7 delegations on this one item tonight, just to let you know that you won't be limited to your 5 minutes when you go to the town hall to have the discussion. And also, since staff and its direction from committee, staff will have to, at that town hall, take down all of the issues, and all of those issues have to be inputted into that recommendation report prior to it coming to council. Okay, so just to let everybody know. Please, Councillor Fortini.
That's what I was saying, so 7 of them delegating here, it's better we have a town hall. They take all the notes right there? What?
take all your notes
at the town hall, this way they work together. There's no sense delegating here, and then we're gonna be back at the same point at
Yes.
the town hall. And we'll try to arrange maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks at town hall.
So we can't,
Rosecliffe.
we can't
And
stop
the evening.
anybody from delegating. You can withdraw your delegation and then still provide your comments at that town hall, but that's completely up to you, because your right is to delegate here tonight. But essentially, you'll be delegating twice, once here and then again at the town hall. So I'm going to go to the delegations, and I'm going to ask that Jonathan Sasso, the developer, come on down and provide comments. Jonathan,
evening.
how are you? You have
Good,
5
how are you?
minutes.
I provided a presentation to the clerks. Good evening, members of the committee, planning staff, and residents. My name is Jonathan Sasso. I'm a planner at Humphreys Planning Group, acting on behalf of the owner of the property, Anclair Holdings, Inc., with respects to their development applications at 700 Balmoral Drive in the city of Brampton. Next slide, please. Is this one? Oh, it's on. So my counterpart at the city has done a great job at articulating what the development proposal is, and in advance of today's meeting, we actually received a number of correspondence from the public, so we tailored our presentation to respond to a number of those issues. In terms of the comments that were received from the public, they can be summarized in the following themes. The first being loss of commercial retail space. Second being capacity of the existing community services and facilities in the area to accommodate the scale of the development proposal. The third being the capacity of existing servicing infrastructure in the area, including water, sanitary, and stormwater. The fourth being neighborhood character and compatibility of the proposed development in terms of the existing surrounding context. And the last being traffic and parking. Next slide, please. So, as my counterpart at the city had indicated, the redevelopment of the site will be undertaken in 2 phases, as you can see from the diagram on the screen. The phasing approach will ensure that the essential neighborhood commercial retail functions of the property are maintained without interruption. The existing food store, the No Frills as you guys have come to know, will remain in its place in its current location until Phase 1 construction is complete, and Phase 1 construction entails buildings 1 and 2. The food store will then be relocated within the ground floor of Building 1 in order to facilitate construction of Phase 2, the blue on the screen, and the demolition of that existing remaining retail space will then occur. Other key businesses, including the bank, the pharmacy, and the convenience store, will be relocated and maintained during Phase 1 construction as well to ensure that the existing services, the retail services that are provided on site today, are continued to be provided throughout the construction process. The site currently accommodates approximately 50,000 square feet of commercial retail space, and the proposed development will accommodate approximately 47,000 square foot of commercial retail space. So it's a like for like. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in an area with direct access to a number of community services and facilities, including parks, recreation centers, schools, and places of worship. Existing surrounding schools in the immediate neighborhood include Cardinal Newman Catholic Elementary School, Dorset Drive Public School, Eastbourne Drive Public School, Fallingdale Public School, and Earnscliffe Senior Public School. Existing surrounding recreation centers include Earnscliffe Recreation Center and the Balmoral Recreation Center, which at my understanding is still under construction. The Bramalea City Center is also located less than 2.5 kilometers west of the site, which provides for a number of retail and commercial services and needs as well. The picture on the screen indicates the location of the subject property with the blue pin, and the red markers indicate schools, and the balls, the green basketballs represent recreational options. So the neighborhood is well served with community services and facilities, and will be appropriate to accommodate the development. Next slide, please. The development will be served by existing and updated infrastructure servicing. The proposed development will be serviced by a new 525 millimeter stormwater sewer connected to the existing 950 millimeter stormwater sewer on Eastbourne Drive. It will establish a new sanitary service connection via a 200 millimeter diameter pipe, which we connected to the existing manhole on Eastbourne Drive. and water will be achieved directly adjacent to the site with a 200 millimeter fire line and 150 millimeter domestic connection service. Based on the functional servicing and stormwater management report submitted in support of the development application, there'll be no impacts to the existing sanitary or water or stormwater management system resulting from the development proposal, and all systems will be running under normal capacity. Next slide, please. In terms of neighborhood compatibility, the proposed development has been designed to prioritize compatibility with the surrounding land uses and build forms. Within the immediate context, there are already two high-density residential apartment buildings on Eastbourne and known as the Eastbourne Apartments. The development has also been designed not to directly interface low-rise residential areas. It's been designed with a podium in order to frame the public realm, articulate retail entrances, and assist in the creation of pedestrian scale along the property frontages. The surrounding neighborhood is characterized as a highly urbanized area offering a variety of mixed uses, including low, medium, and high-density residential, commercial, public open space, and institutional uses, and the proposed development will fit in nicely with the existing context. Next slide, please. A sun-shadow study was prepared on behalf of the applicant in the development proposal. Essentially, what that shows is that there'll be no shadow impacts on adjacent open spaces or the public realm resulting from the development proposal. The design of the buildings in terms of the height and the gradation of height along the site makes for shadows doesn't allow for shadows to be cast on areas for a large period of time, and there's also a wide gap between the shadows, and in our opinion, these shadows are appropriate, recognizing the suburban context that the property is located in. Next slide, please.
Jonathan, you're over your time,
Okay.
but what I'm thinking is, are you going to, will you go to the town hall with the councilors?
Of course, yeah.
So you'll have another opportunity to do this, and that's kind of the way they set the stage, is
Sure.
a presentation and then a sit and listen.
Okay. I'm also free to answer any questions that the public may have today.
Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So now I am going to go to my delegations list to see if you still want to delegate. The first one, Michael Murray. Michael, do you wish to still delegate tonight?
This is my first time doing this, so I've just come on reserve. Do I have to come down?
If you wish to delegate, yes, you have to come down. I did. So, and Michael, or you can go to the town hall to delegate to, and then you don't have the 5 minutes.
It doesn't matter. For me, just to like even delegate, like I don't even exactly know my point here. For me, personally, is I've been living in that neighborhood for already about almost 15 years. I do believe that this personally is a bad idea. I think most of us actually are living there. We like how the community is. It's a small, tight community, and I think this is something that is not actually a good idea for the area, personally. So that's the only thing that I actually want to say. But yeah, it's a bad idea.
Thank you, Michael. And Michael, again, you have another opportunity at the town hall to be able to.
I'll be more prepared.
There you go. Next up, we have Fareed Farah. Fareed, would you still like to delegate tonight? Welcome, Fareed. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a resident at 50 Dunblane, which is very close, within 100 yards from the suggested development. And I think I'm gonna be negatively affected by the developer's proposal at that location. The proposal will negatively affect the character of the area and pose danger from increased traffic congestion, pose a dangerous obstruction to incoming aircraft using the north-south runway for low-flying planes. I had a few planes flying at an altitude of 150 feet over my head. And I'll leave it to you to feel how dangerous it would be, if anything happens. I strongly oppose the proposed amendments and solicit the support of everyone on this matter. It's going to bring more noise, and the three accesses going to be reduced to 2 accesses to that location. I do not know why the planning department didn't consider more access instead of 2, reducing to one access. And that's all that I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your delegation. Next up, Deanna McAfee. Deanna, would you still like to delegate here tonight?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Deanna has submitted a video delegation.
Okay, we'll put that on to the end. Gopal, Ranwati, Vashili, Ramnhari, would you still like to delegate tonight? Or do you want to delegate to the town hall? Gopal? No Gopal? Vashali? No Vashali. Catherine Fennick? Catherine, would you like to delegate tonight or to the town hall? Catherine is online. Catherine, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see the unmute. Yes, I would like to delegate.
Okay, Catherine, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Bramalea was a planned community. It was innovative. It was something we should celebrate and try not to destroy. One of the slogans at the time Bramalea was planned was better planning means better living in Bramalea. This plan will not mean better living for the residents of this area. There's nothing here for us. This plaza was designated as neighborhood retail, which is an important component to building a livable community. The plaza, along with adjacent schools and the rec center, were designed to be the core of the neighborhood center. Bramalea was meant to be a community where you could live, play, go to school, and shop in your neighborhood. Many of the documents I've read have said that they refer to the area as being full of single-family homes and that they're bringing a mix of housing to the area. The reality is this area already has a good mix of housing, from apartments to townhouses, stacked townhouses to bungalows to semis and to detached homes. Bramalea was about balance, and this project will upset that balance. The level of density that is being proposed is not fitting with the area. If you want to build density, go to the Bramalea City Center area where these plans would better fit. That area is also better served by transit. The project more than doubles the height of the apartments across the road with almost triple the number of units. While this is a family neighborhood, there are no 3-bedroom units being proposed. And given the trend in Brampton, we'll just see larger families crammed into 2-bedroom units. This project will increase traffic congestion. We've already seen increased congestion since the introduction of bike lanes on Eastbourne. So on top of that, you're considering bringing an additional 1,300 cars to the area. Not to mention the bike lanes being planned for Balmoral and Dearborn, which will cause further congestion. More idling cars stuck in traffic are not good for the environment. The area will become more car dependent without the plaza. One thing you will notice from the traffic study, there are no bicycles on the road here. Perhaps because we have bike paths throughout Bramalea, which was part of the original plan for Bramalea. There are flaws with the traffic study. It was based on September 2021 at the height of the pandemic, when many were working from home and there were still restrictions on non-essential business openings. It was done before the current bike lanes and the proposed bike lanes. It failed to look at traffic at Dearborn and Bramalea. And if part of the appeal of this location is a proximity to the GO station, that is the shortest and quickest route from the site. This area is poorly served by transit, contrary to what the applicants claim, so it doesn't support intensification. People have no choice but to drive, especially if you don't work traditional Monday to Friday 9 to 5 jobs, as many in Brampton don't. The traffic study misstated the frequency on the Southgate 16 bus at 10 minutes at peak when it is actually 30 minutes. There is no evening service on the weekends, and the last bus during the week leaves the Bramalea GO station at 8:50 p.m. Currently, there are 3 entrances into the plaza, but this proposal will only have one main entrance on Eastbourne and a service entrance on Balmoral. Coupled with a single lane of traffic due to bike lanes, it adds more congestion to the neighborhood. At surface level, the parking proposal contains only 61 parking spaces for visitors, retail use, and accessible parking. The current plaza has 249 parking spaces. It doesn't seem like it's very accessible to the community. In fact, many believe that the no-frills will be mainly for the apartment residents and not for the neighborhood. There is already an acknowledgement that there will be a lack of retail or a loss of some retail. Some of these businesses have been there forever, while others, like Backyard Chicken, just opened. Just opened. So not only does this hurt the community, it hurts small business. As this is a neighborhood with a low walk score, we can't afford to lose businesses and services in this plaza. I see councillors promoting small business on their Twitter accounts, but what about the small businesses in this plaza? When they have to leave during construction, they're not going to come back. And I'm sure if they wanted to, they would be probably priced out. I've been through this before, twice before, and what ends up happening is you get more housing, but you lose neighborhood services and you become a desert where people are forced into their cars just to run basic errands. And my last concern is regarding schools. The noise and disruption to the 2 elementary schools, especially St. John Henry Newman, should not be acceptable. These kids have been through enough disruptions to their education throughout the pandemic. And imagine having to live beside a construction site, a major construction site like this. I don't know how they'd be able to how they'll be able to study. And just walking by a construction site, you know it's not an environment for children. I urge council to reject this application and keep 700 Balmoral Drive as the plaza that it currently is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that's the longest outburst I've ever allowed in this chambers. I won't allow another one. Our next item is Theo Grutenborough, Brampton resident. Theo, come on down. While Theo's coming down, I want everybody to know that these applications are not city initiated. We have not looked at this application, nor will we until they provide any studies. We have nothing to do with any of these applications. They're within everybody's right to bring forward an application to the city of Brampton. Theo, you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Thank you. Good evening. I've prepared a presentation. I don't know if you've seen it, but we're going to go through it because I'm here. I object to this. Next slide, please. Who does that? We've heard this one before. It's going to change the character of the neighborhood, and it's in a profound way. In fact, I think it'll shatter the neighborhood. Shatter as in break it. And the biggest problem, in my opinion, will be the increase in traffic. And I'm going to show you through the next slides what happens in a normal day. Next slide, please. We've seen this. Next slide, please. Okay, we have 2 schools, one on the, I don't know which direction is which, on the left side of the development and one on the right side of development. If you're facing it on Balmoral Road, you've got St. John Newman and you've got Eastbourne. Next slide, please. There's St. John Newman. That's on the morning of March the 31st. Next slide, please. That's at school opening time. Here's Eastbourne. Next slide, please. And now both of those schools front on Balmoral, and that's a very busy road. And as we in the neighborhood are aware, Balmoral runs and joins Bramalea to Torbram, and it's busy. Parents drive their kids to school. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And that's a fact of life. They drive them in the morning and they pick them up in the evening. Next slide, please. This is a shot of more cars. Okay, next slide, please. This is a shot, if you look, I don't know if you can enlarge that, but if you look down, I'm looking down Balmoral Road to south, sort of a south direction, and that driveway you see on the left in the foreground is Eastbourne Public Schools Drive, but back down there are a bunch of cars that are queued up. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Balmoral Drive. I mean, it's full, it's busy. This road is always used. Next slide, please. Oh, I already said that. Next slide. Okay, this shows the kind of congestion that exists in Cardinal Newman at the same time. They kind of stagger the opening and closing time of each school, but the cars that are involved in each school is quite something to watch. Like, I stood there a whole day and watched this. This is just a normal, everyday occurrence. Next slide, please. So you're going to put more units in here. It's going to make the traffic worse. I say that the traffic already is unbearable and it shouldn't be any worse. And if you're going to do this, it's going to be chaos. You'll break the community. Next slide, please. The traffic impact study. Bad assumptions. September, November, people were working from home. Kids weren't attending school. They were doing online learning. So why do you do a traffic study then? Well, I think it's not good. And the peak hours, they looked at, I think it was 7 till 9 in the morning and 4 to 6 in the evening. The stuff I'm showing you happened between 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Big hole, big problem. Next slide, please. Yeah, do we want Balmoral to look like Williams Parkway or Bramalea Road and Steeles or Highway 410? 1 minute, okay. Next slide. We don't want that. Next slide. Oh yes, we've got lots of more traffic already. I've noticed it in the last few years because a lot of people that have bought homes have turned them into rooming houses. And we've got more traffic in our neighborhoods. Next slide, please. This is a fact. When the Peel Board wanted to build a new elementary school near Springdale on Dewside Avenue, that community raised traffic concerns to prevent construction at the planned location. At that time, the City Council supported that community, and the school board was forced to build elsewhere. Next slide, please. That's it. I'm asking council to support the Bramalea community. Do not approve this application at all.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Our next delegation is a video delegation from Deanna McAfee. So we're gonna put that up, and then just a reminder to try to go ahead.
Hello, my name is Deanna McAfee, and I live within the neighborhood in discussion today. My No Frills is within this proposed development. I'm aware that housing is needed everywhere, so I'm not trying to take a not in my backyard approach. However, I have 3 main concerns. First, the density. 980 units means a huge influx of people into this small, roomy community, leading to traffic congestion on streets that have recently been narrowed to allow for bike lanes. Also, the 3 local schools would experience possible overcrowding. Number 2, the height of the buildings. I do not support any structure higher than 10 stories, preferably 8. This would also address some of the concerns in my first point, as less units would mean less density. Number 3, the parkland. I'm not clear by the proposal how this would affect the beautiful open space of Earnscliffe Park, but it is a concern. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share these thoughts.
Well, thank you very much, Deanna.
Hello, my name is Deanna McAfee, and I live within the neighborhood.
Only a minute 20, we can hear it again, you still got lots of time. So thank you, Deanna. So now we are, I'll put forward the item number to vote on, but also I'll entertain the motion from Councillor Fortini that is going to direct staff and the applicant to hold a town hall prior to that rec report coming back to council. So I think, and that's the best setting for you to sit down and have the discussion with the applicant, the consultant, and the area councillors, which is always good and positive. So if there are no other delegations, then we have staff presentation, application to amend the zoning bylaw and official plan, and Claire Holdings, Humphreys Planning Group, Inc., 700 Balmoral Drive, Ward 7, to be approved to staff to come back with a recommendation report. Can I include the town hall in that? Or does it have to be a separate motion?
You can, through you, Mr. Chair,
And
as
for
well as
that to-
correspondence 11.1.
With correspondence 11.1, and that staff and the applicant with the area councilors hold a public town hall at Earnscliffe's, probably the best spot, and that everybody that has delegated tonight sent in correspondence and send a email to their councilors or to staff, be also contacted to let them know when that town hall is going to be. And I also advise or support anybody that wants to follow their area councilors on social media, because I'm sure they'll post that as well. Councilor Fortini, move that? Yeah. All in favor? That carries. Next item, if there seems to be a lot of people for that item, so if you don't want to stick around for the next one, now's your time as I drag this out a little bit longer. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Do I still have quorum? Yes. Our next item is 5.5, staff presentation, application to amend the zoning bylaw and for a draft plan of subdivision Golden Gate, Castlemore Plaza Limited, Glenn Schnarr and Associates, 4538 Castlemore Road, Ward 10. We have Andrew Ramsamy here. Andrew, come on forward. You have 2.5 minutes. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, thanks. All right. Good evening, members of the committee, the public, and city staff. My name is Andrew Ramsamy, and I'm the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Golden Gate Castlemore Plaza Limited and Glenn Schnarr and Associates. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 10 and is municipally known as 4538 Castlemore Road. It is located at the northeast corner of Castlemore Road and the Gore Road. Next slide, please. This slide shows an overview of the surrounding area to the site. The surrounding land uses are described as single detached dwellings and valley lands to the north. To the south is Castlemore Road, and beyond are existing residential subdivisions consisting of single detached dwellings. To the east is agricultural land, which are planned for medium density residential and high density residential uses as proposed in application file OZS 2021-0038. And to the west is the Gore Road, and beyond is Gore Meadows Community Center. The site currently consists of a single-story residential dwelling located on the southeast portion of the property fronting onto Castlemore Road. Next slide, please. This slide captures another aerial view of the subject lands that show an overview of the site and surrounding area. Next slide, please. The application to amend the zoning bylaw and for a draft plan of subdivision application is to facilitate a mixed-use development consisting of a 23-story residential tower with commercial uses at grade and 3-story townhouse units. The proposal consists of one medium high-density residential block in the size of 0.82 hectares, one value land block totaling 0.003 hectares, and one buffer block totaling 0.04 hectares. Next slide, please. The following are further details of the proposal. The lot area is 0.9 hectares. The total floor area proposed is 24,737 meters squared. Of that, 23,343 meters squared is proposed for residential, while 1,394 meters squared is proposed for non-residential uses. A total of 271 units is proposed, which will be made up of 1 and 2 bedroom units with and without den, as well as townhouse units. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations to council, this application will be further evaluated for consistency with the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, conformity with the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the Region Appeal Official Plan, and the City of Brampton Official Plan and secondary plans. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated residential and open space in the City of Brampton Official Plan. The residential designation permits residential land uses, including a full range of dwelling types ranging from single detached houses to high-rise apartment units. The open space designation indicates major open space features. These features include public and private open space, valley land, watercourse corridors, wetlands, and woodlands. An amendment to the official plan is not required. Next slide, please. The secondary plan designation for this property is designated as high-density residential, special policy area 8, and value land, and the parcel is also located at the intersection of a primary gateway in the secondary plan area 47. The high-density designation permits apartments, back-to-back townhouses, stacked townhouses, and seniors residence. Special policy 8 includes lands at the northeast corner of Castlemore Road and the Gore Road, notwithstanding the high-density residential designation that applies to the developable area within Special Policy Area 8. Convenience retail uses will also be permitted as a standalone or as part of a mixed-use development, subject to following policies and design principles. An amendment to the secondary plan is not required. Next slide, please. The block plan designates the property for high-density residential, value land, and is also located within the town center boundary. No amendment to the block plan is proposed. Next slide, please. The subject property is zoned Residential Hamlet 1, Special Section 1519, as per the zoning bylaw. Residential Hamlet 1 designation permits residential and some non-residential uses. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is proposed to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject site. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing to amend the zoning bylaw from the current Residential Hamlet 1 1519 zone to a site-specific residential apartment zone recognized as R4A special section to be assigned. This proposed zone will include mixed-use permissions, including apartment and townhouse residential uses, including ground floor retail, such as retail, office, restaurant, and personal service shop uses. Next slide, please. This slide summarizes where we are in the planning process. To date, the application filed with the city was deemed complete on February 16th, 2023. The application was circulated to commenting departments and agencies. Notice of the public meeting was issued, and we're currently at the public meeting stage. Moving forward, staff will continue to review the application, including reviewing comments from the public and technical comments. Issues raised will be addressed in the future recommendation report, and the advancement of a final recommendation report to council for decision will be the final step. Staff will contact and follow up with those residents who have spoken, written in, or expressed interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. Considerations that will be reviewed include support for Housing Brampton, the city's comprehensive housing strategy and action plan, appropriateness of the proposed tower height and shadow impacts, how the proposal fits into the town center designation, and opportunities to achieve a higher sustainability score from the current score of bronze. These issues and others that are raised will be addressed in the future recommendation report. On this slide here, there's also some conceptual renderings of the proposed high-rise development. Next slide, please. The development application can be accessed by the public through BrandPlan Online. Through BrandPlan Online, members of the public can click the search for an application link, then type for file number and the application in the required field, which in this case is OZS 2022-0045. This will bring up the file page where clicking the file tab will allow clicking the File tab will create a drop-down menu for documents, which will make all the documents associated with the development application viewable and downloadable. Next slide, please. The report associated with tonight's meeting is available online. The presentation will be available online as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself, my manager, or the applicant. The applicant is Mark Condello from Glenn Schnarr and Associates, representing the owner, Golden Gate Castlemore Plaza Limited. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself, my manager, or the applicant. Thank you, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So the next item, the delegations for item 5.5, is a delegation from Harpinder Dade and Gurpreet Purba. Harpinder? Gentlemen, come on down. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. We will be very quick. We own the neighboring 2 lots, so our concerns are basically how it's going to impact our property value and the traffic that will come along with it and the character of our properties that it's going to impact. That's all we have to say.
Okay, so those will definitely be captured in the staff report. And if the applicant or staff, if you haven't heard from them yet, you will very soon. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
It's been moved by Councillor Deputy Mayor Singh. The staff presentation application to amend the zoning bylaw and draft plan of subdivision Golden Gate Castlemore Plaza Limited, Glenn Schnarr and Associates, 4538 Castlemore Drive, Ward 10. Listed under 5.5, item 6.2, the delegations, and 11.4, the correspondence, be received. All in favor? That carries. Now, our next item is 6.1 on 7.3. So we have Baljinder Singh Badesha, Brampton resident, delegation on the application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw 2537079 Ontario Inc. CanDevCon, come on down. CanDevCon Limited, east of Gore Road. Come to the podium, please. East of Gore Road and north of Countryside Drive, Ward 10. Baljinder, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. My name is Baljinder Badesha. We are living on 11505, the next to the 11499. This property is on minor variance, right? So it's not zoning. I don't know how they put the application for this for the expansion. We're strongly against it, and we had the problem with the grading. They did it. All the water is coming to our side, and the gentleman Asuki is living behind the property. All the water going to his property. All right. And the third issue, the 2 neighborhood, they sold the houses there on the Beamish Road because the noise from the kids. Okay, so originally we thought it's a volunteer, but this is a commercial. Okay, we don't want the school there. If they want it, they can go to any plaza or anything like that, because sometimes our family member, they're working from home, and noise is bothering us from the kids and the cars. 7:30 in the morning to 8:30, the cars coming and going and closing the doors, they're bothering us, all right? And from the southbound on the Go Road, they don't have the left turn. Everybody making illegally U-turn there to the school, and after the school, when the people they're coming, picking up or dropping up the kids, even the staff and the owner, they're making a U-turn from there, right? That's totally illegal, maybe it can cause the accident, and is always bothered to us. And I'm living there since 2006, almost 21, 22 years. We never complained to the city. And last 3 years, we did so many complaints. All right, because even in the COVID days, these guys, they're playing the volleyball there with the 20 plus pupils. We complained the city, right? That's our concerns.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much for your
Please.
delegation.
Thank you.
Your delegation has been received by Deputy Mayor Singh. All in favor, that carries. Next item is I'm going to go right to that item, 7.3, the application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw, Ontario Inc., Candefcon, east of the Gore Road and north of Countryside Ride, Ward 10. Are there any members of council that would like to provide comments, questions on this item? Nobody online? Can we get staff to look into these drainage issues, noise complaints, and vehicle safety issues, please?
Through the chair, we'll do that.
Thank you very much. It's been moved by Councillor Tour. Is he online? I thought he was jumping on. Deputy Mayor Singh, that the staff report application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw 2537079, Ontario Inc., Candefcon Limited, east of the Gore Road, north of Countryside Drive, Ward 10, an existing day nursery and private school, use in the zoning bylaw and official plan to facilitate 2,230 square feet meter building expansion. All in favor? That carries. With the correspondence, 11.5, and we did the delegation. I thought I did the correspondence with the delegation. Doesn't matter. Our next item is the 6.4 delegation on the city-initiated official plan amendment to the Credit Valley Secondary Plan Area 45, Wards 4 and Wards 5. But from my understanding, I think Councillor Keenan wanted to jump on to discuss 7.1, city-initiated official plan amendment to the Credit Valley Secondary Plan Area 45, Ward 4 and Ward 5 prior. Is Councillor Keenan on?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I just wanted to jump on it. In speaking with some of my colleagues, and specifically Councillor Santos, and discussing some of the issues that the residents have brought up to us regarding this secondary plan, we feel that it's best to deter this to our next council meeting to allow staff the opportunity to see how the provincial environmental study and concerns raised by our constituents plays into this. So I would like to defer this item to the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Keenan. This item before you, members of committee, is for a referral of the city-initiated official plan amendment to the Credit Valley Secondary Plan. We'll also refer item 6.4, the list of delegations. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Item 7.3 was done. 7.6 is done. All correspondence is done, Peter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, it has, with 11.3 being referred to council next week as well.
11.3 and 11.2, right?
Yes. 11.2 was deferred to the May 15th committee meeting.
Deferred.
Yeah. All correspondence has been dealt with.
Item 12, councillor question period. Are there any members that would like to ask any questions about anything that was related to committee today? Seeing none, public question period. Are there any members of the public that would like to ask any questions about any of the items that were on the agenda today? Come on down. You have to state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sukhvinder Sorry. My name is Sukhvinder Judge. I live at 12 Beamish Court.
Welcome, Sukhvinder.
Thank you. I back on to the proposed nursery. When that was first put as a project or a pilot or whatever, the permission was given, we had asked that there's a commercial plaza right across the street. Why would they not open up already designated retail space? And what we were told is there's no nursery allowed to be open there. There's a nursery operating out of there right now.
Who told you that?
Gentleman who opened it, they said it right here that there's no nursery allowed. They came to my house and even told me that. Okay, there's another school being opened. They were saying there's not enough of these nurseries around. Parents are asking for it. Right down Countryside Road, there's a big school and daycare that's already proposed, approved, and the buildings already, they'll be starting soon. I live in a state home. I bought that home for peace and quietness. When they bought that home, they knew that this was just a home. This was not a commercial land. Now, 3 of my neighbors have already moved because the noise from the kids is too much. I work 15 to 16-hour days. Every other day, I come home, I'm awakened every day by the children. I mean, the children are having fun, good for them. Children need to have fun, they're gonna make noise. But it was proposed to put up a sound barrier behind a state lot. I don't wanna see a wall because it's not what's supposed to be there. We have wildlife, we have everything, but we got kids screaming, everything runs away now. I used to be able to enjoy my backyard where I can come back, sit down, have a beer, because I'm on my day off. I'm afraid to because there's kids watching there. I had friends come over, we'd play soccer, we'd yell, we scream. My friends don't want to come over because they don't want to say, we might say a profanity. I've got kids back there. Living on a state lot, this should be something, should be taken into consideration. Why are we losing our peace and quiet so somebody else can benefit out of it? Which is not right when there's other facilities around which can easily facilitate what they want to do.
I understand. So what I can suggest is, so committee is recommended that this be approved. This will go to council on May 3rd for ratification. Call your area councilors and see what they can do to help provide you with, the drainage and some of the noise concerns and vehicle safety issues.
I've lost about, my son's getting married this year. I planted a lot of canna lilies, all this stuff. All the water that came down has drowned everything out. And that was never there before that water for the last 2 years. We saw them put the sand, put the grass up so the kids don't fall, which makes sense, understandable, but it's ruined our living conditions right now.
Your area councilors will definitely get somebody out there to look into that for sure.
All right, I received no email of this meeting, no letter in the mail, nothing. My neighbor called me, I just left work to come here. So I don't know why I was not notified of this meeting.
So this isn't the public portion. That has already happened, where we would have sent letters back in, I don't know how long ago, for that public portion meeting. This is the actual recommendation report from staff.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I'll have to go back to my agenda. What's next, adjournment? It's been moved by Councillor Power that the meeting be adjourned for today as there isn't no closed session. All in favor? That carries. Our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, May 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. or at the call of the chair. Everybody have a great evening.